Hello and welcome to the show. In the latest DLC pack for Forza 6, the BMW X6M is perhaps the least exciting of all of the vehicles. Some people are questioning why on earth it would even be kind of added in to the game. Well, I'm going to find out just how well this vehicle drives, because you can do some rather crazy things to it. You can put the most powerful engine that can be swapped into cars can go into this X6. That would be the 6-litre V12 from a Ferrari Enzo. This will get almost 1,200 horsepower. Kind of want to see what a 1,200 horsepower SUV will do when being raced around a really rather technical and wet circuit. We're going to, of course, max out everything that I can for this build. The rear wing is something special as well. I hope you're ready for this amazing rear bit of downforce, okay? It's just such an odd placement for the wing. Yeah, it's kind of sillier. The hot rod has a really cool rear wing. The Focus has a kind of tiny lip on its well, I was kind of expecting this to have a similar thing on the back, but it's got a double wing halfway up the rear window for reasons of downforce, I think. Probably the best of reasons, but there we go. Tyres, we're going to have some lovely race tyres, and probably going to have some pretty big tyres on this. 285s to start with, only goes up to 295s on the front. I was perhaps expecting a little bit bigger. 335s on the rear, about the same size tyres that we saw on the Mustang. Yeah, the Hot Wheels Mustang had 335s on the rear. This has got slightly larger front tyres, but not by a huge amount. Of course, this thing, while it is going to have an awful lot of power, it's also going to be really rather heavy. It's over 5,000 pounds to start with. By the time we finish, it may just about creep under 4,000. Depends how much the weight reduction takes off. I'm not sure. Of course, on these larger SUVs and trucks, etc., it will take off more weight than in the lightweight sports cars, because, well, there's more to take. The brakes alone have taken off almost 100 pounds on here, so that is quite nice. Yeah, we'll probably get it down to maybe 4.5, maybe even 4,300. It's going to be heavy. It might not cause it as many problems as you expect. The circuit that we are driving around, while it may give it issues kind of changing direction through the very tight, twisty sections, the traction and stability could be quite useful, especially across the bumps going up towards turn 1, and just in general the traction out of these slow corners. Could work out. Oh, we might almost get it under. Okay, that's a bit lighter than I was expecting it. We might almost get it under 4,000 pounds. I suspect intercooler and the oil and cooling upgrades will probably tip the weight back over 4,000. We will wait and see. But yeah, certainly having a little bit of weight can be useful. I think this may be a bit too much weight in this one. We shall have to wait and see. Hopefully it'll let me start putting these parts on a little bit faster. Come on, game. I want to see what the giant BMW does. There is equally another big possibility what might happen with this car. We've got relatively large, grippy tyres on here. And we have seen vehicles roll at Virginia. We only had the Mercury go over. However, it is possible. And if anything is going to fall over, this is probably one of the most likely. Very, very high centre of mass. So, yeah, the curbs could well tip the car. Jesus, Forza is being mega slow today. Normally, it can be a little bit dodgy. Today, it is really not wanting to play ball. Thank you, Xbox. Typical. Our weight is almost under 4,000 pounds, and then we're going to ruin all of it when we shove the intercooler on. But kind of needed will give us a nice hefty performance boost. 1,182 horsepower from the V12, all inside a BMW X6M. The car is up into R class, which is pretty good PI wise for this giant thing. Well, that is the vehicle. Time to see how it fares at Virginia. To test out the BMW, of course, we are going to do 5 laps around the Patriot alternate layout of the Virginia International Raceway in an attempt to beat the Hot Wheels Mustang. That is our current leader with a lap time of 108.1. A mighty quick time around this circuit. The X5 probably not going to quite challenge that. However, it's with its four-wheel drive traction, it could embarrass a few of the sports cars that have gone so far. All right, I probably braked too late on the way to the first corner. Just about got away with it, actually. Quite surprised to have made that stop. That could have been a lot worse under braking, actually, down there. And again, through these opening corners, it's no real worse than some of the other. Okay, this bit here is a little bit worse. This bit here it doesn't really like very much. Okay, I think perhaps at the lower speed corners it might be happier than at these medium speed ones. We're going to run wide. Oh, I think we just about got away with it through there. Yeah, okay, we're fine. We're fine. Yeah, it might not really like the medium speed corners too much. We can though boot it. Oh no, there comes some understeer. Okay, we can't quite boot it in the same way that you could with the Bentley. We're not making this turn here. We're going to go gallivanting into the scenery. Oh, get off the... Okay, I was expecting to go gallivanting a lot further into the scenery. Yeah, you can't quite boot it in the same way you could with the Bentley. While this has got the traction, get out of the corners without the wheel spin, it hasn't got the sort of corner grip. It can't maintain the same speed through these medium speed turns. You just get too much understeer from the car. That might have been brave, and no, actually that's about spot on. Actual braking is really not that far off. The other vehicles have been doing that. First line of cones is where most cars have. You've had to be getting on the brakes to slow it down for. So it's not doing terribly for a giant SUV. It's not faring too badly around here. The understeer though through these turns is a little bit of a pain. Oh, we're going to manage to just about make it work through these corners. That's quite a wide. That line might work out quite nicely. We are eating as many of the curbs as we possibly can. Have a little lift on the way up here. Now get on the brakes nice and early, because we're going to be carrying a fair bit of speed through here, and then booted on the way out. Oh, that felt like we almost had a wheelie going on. May have got a little early on the brakes. Kind of better than running very wide though through this final. Oh, please turn, please turn BMW through that final corner. Run towards the line though. We are flat out. That's not a bad first flying lap for the big BMW. Oh, again on the brakes. That's quite scary. It's quite, your brain is shouting at you that you should be earlier on the brakes there, as I'm used to having little sports cars stopping from that distance. But the X6 is fine to slow down from there. A little terrifying, but it will make it work. Now try and be neater on the run down here. A little bit wider on the way in. I'm hoping to kind of, well, not straight line this, but have a smoother line on the way up. That section, oh, I've overshot that corner massively, turned in too late. Now we run wide. Somehow we're still going quicker. There's definitely some time to be found in that mid-section. Just try and find better ways of dealing with all of this copious amounts of understeer, trying to carry more and more speed through these turns. Slowed for these final corners. It is so painstakingly slow around these. It feels so painstakingly slow around these turns. The difference between the BMW is once you've got it turned around the corner, you can go flat out and it'll be fine, whereas the other cars are wiggling all over the road. So it makes up for it in other areas. And the fact that I've just gone into the 1 minute 10s, that's really not a bad lap time around here. It does feel achingly slow, but I really don't think it's actually that much worse off than the likes of the Mercury Coupe. I'm trying to remember all of the cars that have driven in the similar way. Hell, the Jaguar D-Type was wiggling all over the place. The S2000 was quite understeery. The Hellcat, probably the first of the vehicles that really wasn't that understeery around here. And this is, doing pretty well for a big, heavy SUV. It is really managing quite nicely. Maybe going up into fourth gear there will work. Got to make sure though you get it slowed down for this final corner. It's sort of braking into turn one doesn't feel too bad, but it really doesn't like getting stopped in that second to last corner. I'm so much earlier on the brakes there than with just about anything else. So not quite sure. I lost some time with that last sector. Not quite sure what's going on. How fast are we going up here? 170 miles an hour. I mean, it's only 12 miles an hour down the Jaguar D-Type down to this first corner, considering the amount of weight that is trying to be accelerated down that start-finish straight. That's pretty good going. I think I might have buggered it all up on that first turn. I ran in a little too deep. And whereas I could get away with it in the Hot Wheels Mustang, this, if you're out of position for one corner, you've pretty much had it. It then puts you out of position for the next turn because you've just got so much understeer, and it just continues and continues, and yeah, it causes you many a trouble. We found mega time in that mid-sector this time out. It was a very good run through that middle sector. Don't get carried away on the exit across the curb though. We bump once more into these nasty final couple of turns. Don't overshoot this last corner. Okay, we're all right. We're not bouncing across the curb too much, and we can go straight to full throttle. We've gone quicker. That was, yeah, I found some time in that final lap. I'm annoyed at myself for slightly overrunning that first corner. And it's unfortunately quite an easy thing to do with this car. Get caught out by the understeer here will just drag you out wide and cost you some lap time. However, having said that, despite the obvious issues at turn one, the lap time is still pretty damn fast for the SUV. 110.7 will put the car into 6th place. It beats the Chrysler's Rocket, it beats the Maserati race car, the Mercury Coupe and the Jaguar D-Type. It is only 0.2 of a second off the Honda S2000 and the Charger Hellcat. This giant SUV is only 0.2 of a second off those two cars. That's some pretty damn good going for the BMW. Yes, it makes up some time with its traction. Yes, I can get on full throttle out of these corners relatively easily, but that wouldn't be enough on its own to propel it up here. It still has to be able to carry half-decent corner speed to be able to go that quickly around this circuit. So, yeah, that's impressive going. It feels very understeery, but in all honesty, I don't think it's actually going that much slower through the turns than some of these other cars. So, yeah, quite a good showing, I reckon, from the X6. It is now time, though, to see just how fast this BMW will go in a straight line. And that, of course, means heading to Le Mans. Now, the BMW does have pretty much the most powerful engine that we swapped into cars. The same engine that has propelled the Jaguar D-Type to 271 miles an hour. Thing is, it's not exactly as aerodynamic as the Jaguar D-Type, so we're not going to be expecting it to challenge at the top. It will be interesting to see, though, just how fast we can get the big BMW 2. Probably in the 230s, perhaps. I wonder if we can go quicker than that Hot Wheels Mustang. Let's have a look. Can we? No, probably not, by the looks of it. We have got 8 bloody gears, though, to deal with. Wow, that 8th gear is stupendously long. Well, we'll have a look at wiggling the gear ratios around. I don't think we're going to get more than about 2... Yeah, I think about 225, 226 is what we're going to see at best. 0 to 60 time, 2.2 seconds. That would embarrass many a hypercar. With that 226, are we going to see any more? I suspect probably not. And it will have to work quite hard to actually get up to that top speed down here. Yeah, 226.4 is going to have to do. I wasn't expecting, much more from the vehicle. Will probably be quite a scary experience coming down towards the straight. the corners, this opening part of Le Mans, relatively fast, and this thing, this thing relatively on two wheels, is also likely to be a bit on the understeery side through these, although perhaps not as much as I was kind of expecting it to be. It did drive that opening corner better than I thought it would. The two-wheel problem is most definitely there in the dry. I was kind of expecting it to be worse. Perhaps the wet conditions have just amplified the understeer. I mean, I'm sure all of the cars are going to lose grip. There should be simply less grip available in the wet. Perhaps it affects the balance on this more, though, than some other vehicles, because that didn't feel too bad going through that section. Right, we are on to the straight 180 miles an hour as we leave the corner. Bearing in mind the Porsche was up to 200 miles an hour before it even got to the corner, and a couple of other cars have done that as well. Kind of get the idea. Not bad acceleration on this, but yeah, not the greatest. And now we're starting to hit, much like we saw with the Mustang, we're hitting that aero limit at that 220 miles an hour. It's struggling to propel itself any faster forward. I think 8th gear is going to be pretty useless in this with the way the gear ratios are tuned for now. 224, can I get another mile an hour out of the car? Nope, we're not going to. Here we go across the bumps. Oh, BMW did okay. Mega understeer though. I think it's about the first car that's understeered into the wall down there. That kink is not a particularly, tight corner back there. The BMW has got so much understeer, admittedly slightly unsettled by the bumps approaching that section. However, yeah, there is a fair amount of understeer. If you can get used to it, if you can drive with it, then you can actually get the car quite quick, make the most of that four-wheel drive traction and power. And it's not too bad through the turns. It could be a lot worse through the corners. But yeah, you have got to be aware. I wasn't actually expecting that to understeer straight into the wall at the top there. It was feeling a bit better in the dry, but still, it's going to be problematic when you have this much power and this much weight in a vehicle like this, just simply trying to take these turns. Its speed, 224 miles an hour, is down the lower end of the table. It's not too bad. Goes into 25th place. Beats the Mercedes 280 SL, beats the Subaru Brat and the Mazda RX-3. However, does get beaten by the Alfa 75. It gets beaten by the front-wheel drive Volvo 850R. That did almost 230 and gets beaten by the Porsche 944. It's an okay straight line speed. Kind of what I was expecting, really, from the BMW, let's face it. It's not exactly the best shape of car for going speed running, but still, 224 is pretty damn fast. Yeah, overall, not a bad car. It drives better than I was expecting. You certainly can get some serious lap times out of it if you are aware of the understeer that can affect the car quite heavily. However, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.